That food category on your screen there, that's the largest monthly increase since 1979.
Now, if you take food and energy out and you've still got 6% inflation, that means that you've got inflation at that level, 6-7%, for a long time to come.
The thought that things are going to go down quickly, it ain't happening.
Reaction to the latest inflation figures. President Biden, as well as most economists, hoped that July would see a turnaround. Instead, the consumer price index rose 0.1% from July to August.
These numbers are clearly hotter, and again, they're just going to remain hotter longer.
For the year ending in August, prices rose 8.3%, with core inflation, excluding food and energy, like Mr. Varney pointed out, rising 0.6%. That's because while gas prices fell, which did help offset inflation elsewhere, goods, services and food all rose. The Fed is now all but certain to follow through with an interest rate hike.
I think they are going to stay at least at the 75 basis point increase.
The question now is whether they'll raise their target interest rate, and if so, by how much. Only last month, Fed Chairman Jerome Powell pledged to keep raising interest rates until price increases stabilized. And on the markets, stocks have sold off in anticipation. That's because investors want interest rate hikes to be lower and come slower, because stocks are more valuable when rates are low.
The Fed needs to see less job growth, it needs to see fewer job openings, it needs to see fewer houses built, it needs to have slower growth in retail sales. All of that is bad news for the average American.
In recent days, President Biden has appeared to suggest that the economy is doing okay, presumably thanks to big spending bills such as the Inflation Reduction Act, which was signed into law last month.
The American people should have confidence that we're on the right track, that we're seeing real progress.
But the Inflation Reduction Act has little to do with reducing inflation, instead prioritizing the administration's climate change agenda and ramping up the Internal Revenue Service with 87,000 new tax auditors. And with mail-in voting already underway ahead of November's midterm election, continuing inflationary pressure on voters won't help Mr. Biden's case.
The reality is consumers are spending more. In the month of August 2022, they spent 10% more than they did in the month of August 2021. And so far in September, they've likewise spent about 15% more.
The fact is, inflation is proving much more durable than Mr. Biden's financial advisors hoped. And today's data from the Labor Department vindicates the Fed's determination to keep going.
One of the reasons inflation was high was all the government spending. And after we agreed on that, what did the government do? They spent more. Student loans, welfare in terms of the CHIPS Act. Seems like nothing is sinking in.